Hi everyone, I am Izzy. I am going to be describing the four main joint types. 1 bony, 2 fibrous, 3 cartilaginous, and 4 synovial. Alrighty, so I am going to be using the skeleton to help describe all the joints, so just kind of bear with me here. I will be describing bony joints first. So that occurs when two bones fuse and become one bone. Synostosis is the term used when describing the limited movement at a fused bony joint, which means no movement occurs between the bones. We see this in the mandible area, so this is the green part that I highlighted here, and we also see it on the frontal bone, which is on this front part of the skeleton here. Both bones start out as two separate bones in infancy, but fuse into one solid bone once later on in life. So the second main joint type is the fibrous joint. Those are bones bound by short collagen fibers. These fibers allow very little movement, which is called a synarthrosis. So there are three kinds of fibrous joints. Number one being suture, so that's the joint between the cranial bones, which I labeled here, kind of the pink area here. And then we have gymphosis, so I labeled that little orange spot right around here between the mandible and the maxilla. So mandible is green, and then the maxilla is that purple area right there. And then we have syndesmosis, which is a slightly more movable joint. Its fibers are a little longer, which allows for slight movement. The fibers hold two bones next to each other. So an example for that would be the tibia and the fibula here. So I marked this the blue area here. So the third main joint type is the cartilaginous joint. That is in which two bones are linked by cartilage. This provides for a moderate amount of movement, which is called amphistrosis. There are two types of cartilaginous joints based on the type of cartilage that is used. So the first one is synchondrosis. Those are bones that are bound by hyaline cartilage. So for example, that would be the joints between the first rib here and the sternum. So I marked out the green area here. And then the second is symphysis. Those are bones that are bound by a thick layer of fiber cartilage. So for example, that would be the pubic symphysis. So it'd be this area that I labeled pink. Lastly, we have synovial joints. Those are quite common in the body, and they involve a fluid-filled cavity that connects the bones. So here we have a close-up of the joint between our fingers. Synovial joints have a narrow space between the bones called the joint cavity. The space is filled with synovial fluid that lubricates the joint and reduces friction. The joint cavity is surrounded by a joint capsule. This includes an outer fibrous capsule that helps hold the joint together and retain the fluid, and then an inner synovial membrane, and that produces the synovial fluid. So each of the facing surfaces of the bones have articular cartilage. So that's hyaline, and that helps reduce the friction should the bones contact each other. So depending on their structure, synovial joints can operate in a variety of axes or planes. First one is multi-axial, so that's the joint where it can move in 3 axes or planes. And then we have biaxial, which is the joint can move in 2 axes or planes. And then the monaxial, which is the joint can move in 1 axis or plane. Synovial joints come in 6 forms. So the first one is ball and socket joints, which are multi-axial, so that means the joint can move in 3 axes or planes. So an example for that would be the hip area here and the shoulder area. That's the ball socket and joints. And then we have the condylar joints, which are biaxial, so that means the joint can move in 2 axes or planes. So on this model here, that would be the metacarpals, so that's the purple area here on the hand, and the phalanges, so that's the red area on the hand here. So the third would be saddle joints, which are biaxial, which means the joint can move into 2 axes or planes. So an example for that would be between the trapezium and the first metacarpal of the thumb. So here I marked in that little blue area here. I know it's a little hard to see due to how small the skeleton is, but it would be found in that area there. And then the fourth is plane joint. So that's biaxial as well, so that means the joint can move in 2 axes or plane. So an example for that would be between the carpals and between the tarsals. So here I highlighted the tarsal area, in which we can find here in that orange spot right there. So it's just my best estimate on where it would be. The fifth is hinge joints. Those are monoaxial, so that means the joint can move in 1 axis or plane. So an example for that would be elbow here and the knee. Elbow and knee. I'm sure everyone knows where that is located. And then the sixth one is pivot joints, which are monoaxial as well. So that means the joint can move in 1 axis or plane. So an example would be the head of the radius here, with the ulna, which is highlighted here in the pink area. Okay, thank you for watching.